What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Making our way through Aria right now to get started with some 2-5 no limit. Kind of getting the itch to play some 5-10 today, but if we do, it probably will be at Bellagio. It's a Wednesday at like 5 p.m. right now, so we're going to see how this session goes here. See how I'm feeling. I think I've been doing a good job with kind of going with my intuition on whether to stay in games, leave games, just be done for the night. So let's get started here, see what happens, and go from there.
Alright, I grab the max $1,000 buy-in, get to the table. We're six-handed when I pick up Ace-7 offsuit from +2. In a full game I fold this hand, but six-handed it's worth a raise. Under the gun limps and I make it 20. The button calls and limper calls. 3 ways to a flop of Ace-10-6 with 2 spades. First player checks and I continue with a bet of 25. The button calls and under the gun player calls. With 2 callers it's likely I'm already behind unless I'm against 2 drawing hands. The turn is a deuce of spades completing the flush. First player checks, I check, and button bets 80. Next player calls and I have a pretty easy laydown here. Let's see what happens. River is a 5 of spades. First player bets 100 and button raises to 300. She calls and button shows Ace-Jack with the ace of spades for the nut flush, so I was dominated from the start and got away losing the minimum. About 5 minutes later I'm in the big blind with King-9 offsuit. Cutoff raises to 15. Small blind calls and I defend. We're still six-handed. Flop is 10-7-6 with 2 hearts. I have an overcard, gut shot, and backdoor flush draw. Small blind checks. If you've seen some of my previous videos, when players lead into the pre-flop raiser, it tends to be a draw or a marginal one-pair hand. I'm hoping this opponent doesn't know that. I think I can fold out some ace highs and small pairs with a bet here. I bet 20 and both opponents just call, which is good news. I think if either were very strong I would have heard about it on the flop. The turn is a blank 3 of clubs, small blind checks. Good card to continue firing here to keep the pressure on. I bet 60 and both opponents quickly fold. And for the 12th consecutive vlog I pick up pocket aces in the small blind. Will they be cracked? Cutoff raises to 15. Button folds and I put in the 3-bet to 50. He makes the call. We go heads up to a flop of King-10-6 with 2 hearts. Pretty good flop here. I have the 2 red aces, so I have a backdoor flush draw to get bailed out. I put out a small bet of 30. He makes the call. Turn card is a Queen of clubs. Not a great card as it does complete some 2-pair and straight combinations. I check here for pot control. He checks back. I have a little history with this opponent. I don't think he's ever checking back hands greater than 1 pair on the turn there. So the river is a 5 of hearts. A flush does get there now. I check, giving the previous info. Maybe he'll bluff at it or he might have hearts. He bets 110 and I make the call. He shows 8-9 for a missed straight draw and aces stay undefeated. Again, I win a few more small pots but not really feeling it here. Gonna go with my gut and head to the Bellagio. Game isn't great, so let's head to the 5-10 game. In for 1,000, out for 1,334. Hour and a half session. Let's head over.
Alright guys, as planned, Aria game was pretty bad. Aces again, 12 in a row, they hold up. Let's take this run good over to the Bellagio 5-10. See what's going on. Wednesday about 6:45. I think there was 4 games, which is pretty good, so we'll see you at the table.
Alright, the Bellagio 5-10 has a max of $1,500 buy-in. Pick up that, jump into the must-move game, and pick up queens in the first orbit. I'm under the gun +1, I open for 30. Next player calls, small blind and big blind make the call. 4 ways to a flop of Jack-9-4 with 2 spades. Nice flop, we have an overpair and backdoor flush and straight draw, but expecting some action here with 3 other players in. It's check to me and I bet 70. Folds to the big blind who makes the call. Turn, 6 of spades, completing the flush, but pretty much a blank other than that. He checks to me and I continue for 150 and he makes the laydown. Always nice to grab that first pot early. Next I have Queen-10 of hearts. Under the gun $20 straddle is on. I should probably be folding this hand most of the time in this position because I'll have to fold to 3 bets given our short stack sizes. But I'm kind of an unknown here. In the moment I decide to open for 60. Player in middle position calls and the straddler calls. 3 ways to a flop of Jack-10-6 with 1 heart. Pretty good flop. First player checks and I continue for 60. Next player calls, and the straddler folds. Heads up to another jack on the turn, which is a pretty good card, making it less likely he has a jack. I could be up against a hand like 8-9, king-queen, maybe ace-10. I check to him for pot control, and he puts out a small bet of 100. He has about 1,000 behind. I feel like I might be beat here, but can't give him the pot for 100 right here. I call, and the river is a 5 of spades. I check, and he bets tiny again, 100. Feels like I'm beat. I call here based solely on math. My hand might be good 1 out of 5 times here, so I make the call, and he shows the goods. King Jack of diamonds for trips, and probably got me for max value. I get moved to the main game immediately after this hand. I'm about 30 minutes into this game, and it's playing extremely quiet and tight, so much so that players are even mentioning it. About 30 minutes in, I pick up 6-7 of spades from under the gun. Let's loosen it up. I open for 30. The button and big blind make the call. 3 ways to a flop of king, 9-7, rainbow, 1 spade. Big blind checks, and with a pair and some backdoor draws here, I continue with a bet of 40. The button calls, and big blind folds. Heads up to a 6 of clubs on the turn. Great card for us unless he has the 8-10 for the open-ended straight draw. I'm going to find out here. I bet 120, and he makes the laydown. In the next 40 minutes or so, I lose a few 3-bet pots, and I'm stuck about 500 before picking up pocket 8s from under the gun. I open for 30. It folds to the cutoff, who 3-bets to 100. I make the call, and we go heads up to a nasty flop. 8-8-7. What is going on? Flopping quads in a 3-bet pot. Remember earlier when I said leading into the razor is typically weak? I think this player knows that. I lead right into him for 40 to induce a raise from him from his entire range. He quickly puts in the raise to 120 as expected. I'd probably do the same exact thing, so can't blame him. Okay, so I make the call. We have a decent pot building here that he'll certainly want to fight for. Turn is a 4 of clubs. I check to him hoping he continues the aggression, and he does. He sizes up to a near pot-size bet of $400, just a dream situation. Getting action with quads is just rare. I think for a little bit, wondering if he has a big enough hand to call an all-in from me here. It would be for about 800 more. I decide against it because we want him to hit a card that could potentially improve his hand because he could just be bluffing. So I just call the 400. Alarm bells are probably going off in his head now. We go to a river card of the 7 of clubs. Not a great card for him if he thinks I was calling down stubbornly with a 7, which shouldn't really be in my range here. He's probably going to check back any overpair here, so I can't risk that. Maybe by some miracle he has a 7, so I'm going to go for max value here. The pot is about $1,245. I put it all in for about 800, and he goes into the tank about 20 seconds and ends up making the laydown. Normally I don't show in this spot, but decide to here just to spice up this table, and it actually comes into play just 12 minutes later. Exactly 1 orbit later, I'm back under the gun with pocket 7s. I open for $30. The hijack calls, and it's back to the same player I just got with the quads in the cutoff. He sticks in the 3-bet to 120, folds to me. Right as I put in the call, he says, I'm thinking to myself, well, I hope so. So I make the call. The hijack calls as well. 3 ways to a flop of 10, 7, 5, rainbow. Are you kidding me? This time I check because they saw how I played the quads leading right out with a bet. So I check here. Next player checks. It's to the original raiser. He fires out a bet of $220. Middle set here, rainbow board. There are some straight draws out there, but no flush draws to worry about. So I decide to flat here, hoping to bring in the other opponent. He does make the laydown though, however, and we go heads up to an 8 of spades on the turn. A few gut shots get there, and I'm losing to 2 bigger sets, but pretty sure we're still good here. I check, and he goes into the tank for a bit. Looks like he's thinking about jamming here, but ends up slowing down, checks back. Off to the river card, looking for a blank here, and holy shit, it's another 7. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? I think for a little bit, about an amount, he might be able to call this time instead of trying to go for max value here, so I decide on a bet of 330. He snap calls, and
No way.
Really?
So nasty. He called it, right?
That is crazy.
Jeez.
Teach me, teach me.
Seat 1, teach me, teach me. Can't really teach this, just straight dumb luck. I think showing that last hand though might have got me some action here, as it's pretty unbelievable I have it again. So 20 minutes later, I pick up pocket jacks from +1. I raise to 30. The same two players call from the cutoff and the button. They are looking to get me. 3 ways to a flop of none other than Jack 7 deuce rainbow. Just the god of sets and quads lately. It's unbelievable. I bet 30 on this dry board and only the cutoff calls this time. Turn is a 6 of hearts. Now we have some flush draws and straight draws out there, so I continue for a bet of 80 and he makes the call. River, not great. 8 of hearts. Running flush and straight draws get there. Players are floating you a lot more in this game too, looking for some scare cards to bluff you on or hit backdoor draws. So I check here because I'm not really sure what I'm going to get value from, and we want to keep his bluffs in. Ruling out any sets now as well because he would have raised me on the turn. He checks back and we are always good here, so I show another monster and take it down. Alright, to the last hand of the session, pocket 10s from +1. I open for 30. Same cutoff player makes the call. Heads up to a flop of King 6-3 with 2 hearts. It feels weird not to hit a set, but a pretty good flop here. Only 1 overcard to worry about. I bet 30 and he makes the call. Turn is a deuce of clubs. I don't like check calling or check folding here, so I put out another bet of 60 and he makes the call again. River is an ace. Pretty terrible card. I check to him hoping for showdown, but he fires out a bet of 180. Can't really beat much now, and it looks like he's targeting a king here, so I make the laydown and we are going to call it a day with the win of $334 at Aria and $642 here. We pick up $976 on the day, so not a bad day. We'll see you at the end of the video, guys.
All right, everyone, that's it. Hope you enjoyed some more Run Good on episode number 12. Unbelievable. Here are the stats. We just surpassed the 10K mark with that win today, so pumped about that. Nothing really to say. No bluffs necessary today when you get pocket aces and flop quads, river quads. Only had a few small hands to battle for. Other than that, nothing special. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. What else is going on? Oh, March 2nd through the 7th, heading back to Austin, Texas for more poker at the Lodge Card Club. Going to jump in that 1.5 million guarantee tournament and also play a ton of cash games on the side for about 3 days. So should have a lot more content from there in March. And hopefully starting March, 2 videos per week, 1 on Sunday, 1 on Wednesday. Looking forward to putting some more out there. As always, please hit that like and subscribe if you enjoyed it and want to support the channel, and stick around till the end for a trick shot. And best of luck to everyone at the tables, and we'll see you guys next Sunday.
Oh, guys, I'm naked though.